Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm trying a little something new here. I'm so happy to have all of you. I'm gonna give everybody a couple minutes to come in and get going. But I'm gonna do a little something different. I'm gonna actually talk about sister wives this week. This is my first time ever doing a live, so y'all just bear with me. Normally I talk about Married at First Sight, and I probably will do a Married at First Sight live. I'm just kind of waiting for the season to get started. But I've been watching Sister Wives pretty much since the beginning, and it was actually one of my favorite shows. But now, it's just like it's kind of getting a little messy. So let's kind of get into it. So the season started off like they're still, living separately. They haven't built on the land in Flagstaff. And so it's kind of getting to where everybody's getting a little antsy. Cody didn't go with Christine for Isabella's surgery, which I know that was a point of contention between the two of them. He's still not seeing Mary, and he said at best that they're friends. And so, I kind of want to maybe go couple by couple. So we'll start with the first wife, Mary. Um, Not really. Like, I was a fan of Mary in the beginning, but now that like the seasons have progressed, I feel like she doesn't have any self-esteem or any type of self-respect. Like, I get the religious aspect of it all, of you live this life, to get to the celestial kingdom and all this stuff, but I also feel like Mary should stand up for herself and let it be known, like, if you're not going to be an active participant in this marriage, then I'll just go. And I kind of want to throw a little shade to Robin, because I feel like, they did the rules. Now all of a sudden it's been, 6-7 months now, they have these list of rules. Mary's been doing the rules. And let Robin tell it. Cody was saying, well, let her come over anyway. And Robin's like, well, I don't want it to be, choosing sides. Robin really don't care if she comes over. Robin don't really want her over there. To me, in my opinion, I feel like Robin wants to be the only wife, because Cody doesn't really care for Mary anymore because of the whole catfish situation. So for me, I just feel like, okay, this is, just something that's happening. And, she needs to just move on. And I'm not going to put any spoilers in, but, other wives have made other decisions if follow the news. And I think the filming's like about maybe a year and a half behind. So it's like maybe like the summer of the first wave of the pandemic. So maybe like August 2020, like around the holiday time of 2020. So we're getting kind of like a year behind. Maybe things have changed. And so, it goes into, Mary finally gets to come over, and the kids, what I didn't like was that the kids seem so just like shell shocked. Like, you can tell they haven't socialized with anybody. And, they're scared to let her in. And then, Solomon's like, can I touch her? And it's clear that Mary chose to stay for Thanksgiving to make sure that Cody saw her and saw her putting in an effort. She'd rather have his attention for a couple of minutes than to have went and seen Mariah and Audrey in Utah. Because personally, I feel like she should just went on to Utah and spent time with Mariah and Audrey, because that's where she really was wanted at. She was not really truly wanted at Robin's house. Christine, you can tell she's sick of Cody. She's sick of the rules. She's calling BS on it, and I don't blame her. I wouldn't stay with someone who is actively showing me they don't want to be in a relationship. He wants them to bow down to him. He wants them to be subservient to him, and he says he doesn't have a head wife, but he does. And, with Janelle, she's just kind of moseying along. And what I really didn't care for was how he sat there and said, well, maybe if I was more romantic with her, then she would have chosen me over the kids. And it's always Janelle's kids, Christine's kids, Mary's kids. But when it comes to Robin, it's our kids. Last time I checked, you fathered all of these children, with the exception of the children that Robin had before she got with you. Hey, Cliff, how are you? Thank you for joining me. Did you watch Married at First Sight last week? Yeah, no, I don't really see them working out long term. I definitely think Robin has like an ulterior motive. Um, I feel like it just wasn't really, up to par if you ask me. I was always raised, you don't let a man tell you more than once he don't want you. And it's quite clear that he doesn't want her. He doesn't want Mary at all. That she's just there because she has to be there. Yeah, I really couldn't get into it either, Cliff. I'm trying to wait to see like after the weddings how it's gonna go. I don't really know how it's gonna really go. I kind of feel like it's gonna be good, but I kind of feel like it's gonna be a mess because I'm not really feeling Elijah Wan. I'm not really feeling any of the couples right now. But I'm gonna just wait and see. You got any favorites so far? But yeah, and so they had the Thanksgiving, and Robin asked her, hey, I would kind of like to do the turkey. And I'm like, if she always does the turkey, why are you encroaching on her territory? And so I thought it was cute that she did the Rice Krispie turkey. I thought that was real cute. I don't really see them working out. I think they're just gonna be married in name only. Um, I think the demise really started with the whole catfishing thing. I think that was, terrible. And I think he never really forgave her because his pride and his ego won't let him accept the fact that he had fault in this. He had fault in your wife seeking comfort elsewhere because you weren't doing your job as a husband. You weren't providing emotionally for her. Um, but I definitely think COVID like revealed the cracks that they have in their marriages. I think that their family structure was fine when they all had children under 18 because they, had to depend on each other, which is why I think Christine and Janelle spend so much time together. Is because they still have children under 18 in their households. I don't think it really has anything to do with like their relationship. Do I think they have a better relationship? Absolutely. But I also feel Mary is now paying for the treatment that she gave her sister wives in the beginnings of their marriages because back then they were really in love and Cody really loved her and she was his number one girl, the first wife, the legal wife. And so she had kind of like a head mentality. But now that Cody isn't really studying her no more, she is, lost. And so, it's just one of those things. It's like, oh, I don't really know how this is gonna go, but we'll see. Um, I think it was really telling that everybody else that went to Utah spent time together. And even back then, they had rapid tests, they had drive-through tests. So there is no reason that everyone the day before Thanksgiving or whatever, a few days before the holiday, couldn't have gotten a rapid test and then everybody quarantined for those remaining days and then everyone get together. I personally feel like he doesn't want to get together. And Christine even made the comment of like when he goes to her house, when however infrequently that is, that he comes over dinner time, stays on his phone the whole time, and then he goes to bed. So you're not really spending any time with your family, and you want to frame it as COVID, but in the actuality, you just don't want to be bothered with them or your other children because they're not bowing down to what you want, what you feel is right. And the list was a little bit extravagant, in my opinion. Even back then, I would have thought it to be extravagant. And I was someone that was working in a hospital during a pandemic. I truly feel that his rules were not really up to par, in my opinion. Um, and then they kind of get into the show everyone in Utah for Thanksgiving, and it was such a different vibe from when you saw Robin and Mary and her kids and Cody versus Christine and Janelle and their family. It just was a whole different vibe. And one thing that really stuck out to me was how Robin explained that they weren't going to be with the entire family for Christmas. She made it seem like they didn't want to be there. In actuality, she could have just stated that the moms said that due to the pandemic, they weren't able to follow those list of rules. Hi, Ashley. That's my best friend, y'all. She's in the chat um, with the fingernails. And so for me, I felt like she's like these kids are already not genetically Browns, like they're not blood. and they're already feeling like their siblings don't want to hang out with them. And then you, in turn, decide to turn around and say to them, hey, guys, sorry, they're not going to make it. They said they couldn't make it. You didn't go into explanation. And to me, I feel like Robin, calls her mom crying. That's her biggest thing. She loves to cry. She cries at everything. And to me, at this point, a person that cries that much isn't crying because they're emotional. They're crying because they know that they're able to weaponize their tears. And I feel she definitely weaponizes her tears. And for right now, it works for her to have Mary on her side because, you know, and what really shocked me was like when I was watching Christine's confessional, she said, I just assumed Mary was meeting up with Robin because her and Janelle were sneaking and seeing each other and hanging out. And my thing is like, Zoom was a thing, FaceTime is a thing. So there's no reason why there couldn't have been some sort of interaction. The reason there's not any interaction is because y'all don't want it to be. And so that to me just was really telling. And next week we'll see how Janelle's mom passes away. And I can't wait to see how the family handles that as a whole. I think that'll be very telling as well because, it seems to me that like they. Oh, thank you, Cliff. I love you so much. My favorite New Yorker. Don't tell Franny because she might get at me. But no, I truly, truly feel that like this family has been headed for destruction since whenever, I'd say when Mary and Cody got legally divorced so that he could marry Robin and adopt those kids. And to me, I never really got the full story, or we never really got the full story as to why they felt the need for him to adopt those kids, because it seemed like the the real dad, didn't really have much to do with them. And to me, I feel like Robin used her kids. She weaponized the threat of her kids being taken from her to make sure that she could marry Cody. Because in my opinion, once they adopted the kids, oh yeah, he's not invested at all. He's not. In my opinion, I feel like once they were able to adopt those kids, I feel like Robin and Cody should have gotten a divorce and he should have been legally married to nobody. And let it be fair like that. Because, and in my opinion, when Mary was talking about how she, didn't know if she wanted more kids because she only was able to have the one child, and Robin offered to have a baby with her for her, I feel as though Cody shut that down on the slick sly. Yeah, thank you, Mary. Yeah, absolutely. Once the adoption was full and final, and there was something that man could do to get those kids, I feel like they should have gotten divorced. And it should have been fair like that. Because to me, ever since she has legally become his wife, she is now the head wife, no matter what. To me, the relationships are like this. Him and Robin have a real marriage. They're married, whatever. Him and Christine, they're not married because she has been slighted by him so much that she is now sick of it. And then when he made the comment that, for Isabella's scoliosis surgery, that she should fly to New Jersey by herself, who in their right mind says, I'm going to send my 17-year-old kid across the country during a pandemic to have spinal surgery by herself? That makes no sense whatsoever. None. Absolutely no sense. And then, constantly nitpicking, constantly berating, constantly putting you down. With him and Janelle, they don't really have a relationship either, which to me, I don't understand why him and Janelle were even together anyway, because she was originally married to Mary's brother, which means she was his sister-in-law, but then became his wife. And to me, I'm sorry, I don't care what type of circle you come from, that's not okay. And I think that was a lot of Mary and Janelle's original issues, was that she was married to her brother at first. Um, I feel like they should have got divorced, kept it clean, and I feel like with Janelle, she really put her emphasis in her kids because she understood that Cody's attention is based on who is stroking his ego and who is giving him what he wants. Because why would you say to her, well, kick your son out? And he said, well, my name's not on the lease. Janelle's name is. So I can't have him evicted. You moved Garrison from his home from Las Vegas to Flagstaff. And from my understanding, they moved so that Dayton could go to a school there, and he didn't even end up going to the school. You moved this kid in his senior year. He had lots of scholarships, offers for college, and everything else. And so now you're mad that he's living at home with his mom to save money to buy a home. That doesn't make any sense to me. Cody is all about what he wants and what he feels. Like when they had that group meeting about Thanksgiving, and he's like, well, I hope everyone enjoys their holidays. Like, that's not, no, that's you being nasty and you being manipulative, is all that it is. And you cannot convince me otherwise. Like, you truly cannot convince me otherwise. And so, with that, I really think, this is a good season. I can't wait to see, how the rest of it plays out. Um, I I don't have much hope for this. I think once it's all said and done, it'll be a good, good fit. But I think Cody needs to start listening to his older kids, like start letting them have their opinions on things. And the thing of it is Cody wants everyone to just sit at home and he just go from house to house. But my thing is with Mary, he needs to let old girl go. And she needs to find some self-esteem and some self-respect. But I think that's all I have for this live. I'm definitely gonna do Married at First Sight once it gets kind of going a little bit. I'm gonna do Bridgerton. Um, I've thought about Yellowstone, but I'd have to like catch up on that. I haven't really been watching. If there's anything that y'all would like me to review or live chat, like let me know and I'll see if I can fit it in with my schedule. But I don't really think there's anything else I have going on that I can think of that I would like to do. So I guess I'll see y'all next week. Bye.